Hey there, it's Angela, and I'm so glad you found your way here to architecting. Creative careers can be stressful, and it's hard to be vulnerable, but this is your landing pad for raw honesty. I'll help you get clarity, reconnect with your passion, and have the career of your dreams. If you're ready to make a difference, have an impact, and say bye-bye to burnout, stick with me, and let's get architecting. Welcome to Architecting. This is your place, your space to reclaim the full potential of your creative career. I'm all about raw honesty, looking at how we can make change for good, not just keep plodding along in the status quo. I'm your host, Angela Mazzi. I am an architect who is committed to designing for well-being, but also designing our careers to help us thrive, not just survive. I specifically offer support related to overcoming the overwhelm, the stress, and the burnout that holds too many of us back. If that's vibing with you, make sure you rate, and review this podcast wherever you are listening and tell your friends about it so that we can keep growing this community. I'm really excited about the episode today because this is another one where you have written in. The question today comes from Billy. Billy says, "Thanks for this show. It's been a great resource, and I've learned and grown a lot in my career as a result." Well, thank you, Billy. However, because of that, I notice that I tend to complain a lot more than I would like to. I try to say things that are positive, but I'll notice that I will follow up with something negative. Just the other day, I was talking about an accomplishment that our team had on a project with a junior staff member, and I just had to follow up with, and we have to prove to the client that we can do this because they don't really value that we can bring this service. As soon as those words were out of my mouth, I thought, what impression am I leaving on her, and what if anybody else overheard me? Am I sounding too negative? I think we all struggle with this. The human brain is hardwired to be a little bit pessimistic, to be cautious, to see danger. So as a result, we're going to go negative more easily than we're going to go positive because it's a survival instinct. I catch myself doing this all the time too, and especially now that I am a practice leader and a partner in the firm that I work in, sometimes I will beat myself up after talking to somebody because I am here for the honesty. I don't believe in sugarcoating. It's not how I parent. It's not how I lead my teams. I believe that we should be honest. I believe that we should see strengths and weaknesses in our clients in a situation, and only then can we really honestly move forward. Now, that honesty lets us have a more realistic picture. It builds more trust. There's more integrity there as long as you balance it out, which you have to be very conscious of doing. As someone with more seasoning, we understand that the negative comes with a positive and explore the negative issues without feeling discouraged. Those we're working with that don't have the benefit of that experience and that seasoning can see the negative and think that it is their clue that they're on the wrong track and they should just give up. And the last thing we want to do is discourage people from thinking big, from being visionaries, from believing that they can make a difference. So today we're going to cover how you can explore negative issues and be honest without hitching a ride on the complaint train. And the first thing that we need to do is to see this not as a problem or an obstacle or something shutting us down, but a challenge, a way to get better. What could we learn from the criticism? How could we improve our process? How could we improve our ability to share the work we're doing and be more convincing? How could we think about relating better the work that we're doing to the unique problem that our client is facing? So these are all opportunities for process improvement that we wouldn't have had if everything was just smooth sailing. Those failure points, those points of criticism, those moments that feel tough are pointing us to ways that we can get better. So we should be thankful for them, not sweep them under the rug or ignore them or blow them off or discredit them, but actually think about how they become the opportunity to get better, even when we don't agree. We can take a page from improv and use this idea of yes and instead of no but. Whatever the existing conditions are, we're going to build on them and add to them in a positive way instead of seeing them as obstacles that stop the process or something we have to resist. And the last thing is to give up the fight. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. What are you talking about? Give up the fight. Well, when we fight against something, we are in a state of polarization. It's us versus them, good versus bad, light versus dark. And there are a lot of assumptions that get baked into that crusader mentality where we are othering the people who we view as our opposition. This automatically throws it into an idea of virtue instead of just being different ways of looking at something. And not only is that exhausting, but it is lack-based thinking. There's a zero-sum game here. We're training the other person not to value us unless we are constantly proving our worth. A better way to think about this is when we do what we know we are good at, when we do what we know makes a difference, it is magnetizing to us people who are a match for that. And it is allowing us to build on something and to be cultivating and growing, creating, instead of proving. A lot of times with my coaching clients, they will talk about a toxic work experience with a coworker or a boss, and there's this list of the ways that they feel this person is out to get them or treating them unfairly or not really seeing or hearing them. I always encourage them to reframe the situation and to approach it as if the person has positive intent. And their first instinct is to argue, like, no, you don't understand. They do not have positive intent. They are out to get me. They're hypercritical of me. And my answer back, which usually kind of surprises them, is, so what? I mean, let's just, for sake of argument, say that your boss is threatened by you because they see you growing and evolving in your career and they're worried you're going to outshine them. So they are committing all kinds of microaggressions against you, whether that's a lot of criticism or not giving you credit for your ideas or shutting you down in meetings or muting you, the leadership opportunities you're given. Let's just say that maybe they don't have the best motivations in place. You can fight with them. You can shut down and be resentful. Where's either of those going to get you? Assuming positive intent, on the other hand, lets you keep moving forward. So instead of the judge and jury in your head with that confirmation bias firmly in place, assuming things or projecting your own feelings onto the other person, think about where you have opportunities to grow in your communication style. Conflict is how we truly hear the good, the bad, how we consider all points of view. So it isn't a bad thing to be in conflict. It doesn't mean somebody's out to get you. And when you can flip that, it doesn't matter what their intent is. It matters how you show up. It matters that you are responding and not reacting. If we assume positive intent, it also takes away a lot of the emotional charge that could develop. So if you feel somebody doesn't have your best interests at heart or that they're taking you for granted, you're going to build up resentment. There's going to be a lack of trust, and that is going to affect everything from the tone of voice you speak to them with, the attitude you have, the body language. That confirmation bias flares right back up. Hello, old friend. We see what we are expecting to see. So when we put negative intent on somebody, what then happens is we become hyper aware of everything they do or say that's negative, and we become less aware of the things that they do that are positive. We also will tend then to read into their actions. So a neutral action we will choose to interpret in a negative way. Anything this person then says or does, even if it's constructive criticism, we're not going to be open to it, because we're already convinced that they are against us. Then we can show up a lot differently. We talked about seeing opportunities, not problems, building on whatever the existing conditions are, which means also being able to see the good and the bad, the pros and the cons in order to continually improve upon them, and assuming positive intent. So even if you catch yourself complaining, you can always add on to that by saying, I just want you to have the whole picture, but I don't want you to be discouraged by these negative things. They're giving us the opportunity to use a different skill set to strengthen our ability to tell the story or to share the work. We are able to look at what we can build on, what is going on there, and we can have empathy for the person who maybe has their own set of challenges that are causing them to be risk adverse or unsure of whether to greenlight a certain idea. We can think about how we can get to yes, how we can be positive about this. And we can only really be positive about that when we're not in denial about the negative things that are out there. I firmly believe that when you do that, you build even more trust in your team than if you are just super positive all the time. After a while, people don't believe you. Bad things happen. Setbacks happen. Problems do occur. And when they see you honestly acknowledge what's wrong, but then also ask the how can I kinds of questions about solving it, you never have to worry that you went negative and that derailed thing. That negativity is part of an overall analysis of the situation. So just make sure that you build on that. Don't just leave it at, ooh, I wish I hadn't said that. Build on what you said. You said it for a reason, and there's more to unpack and explore, and you are teaching those younger colleagues as well as other collaborators on your team a much more powerful lesson than when we just sweep the negative under the rug and don't acknowledge it. That negativity helps to course correct, to redirect, so that we're solving the right problems and really producing the best solutions. So, Billy, I hope that that helped you. And for everyone else out there listening, don't feel bad if you do see the negative sometimes, or you do need to vent or put it all out there. That is part of the process. Just don't stay there. Look for how you can build on it and how you can also counterbalance what's wrong with ways to get to what could be better, what could be fixed. That pro-con analysis is really powerful. And I always say we learn more from what isn't working than what is. Because what is working, we expected that. That wasn't the growth opportunity or the learning opportunity. It is the negative stuff that is the growth opportunity. As long as you embrace it and use these techniques to move past it and don't stay stuck there. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, rate, and review it wherever you are listening, and tell a friend. Help build our audience. Help more people find the architecting community, because the more of us that learn and grow and evolve, the better the creative professions become, and the more people can benefit from our creativity and our innovation and the work that we do. And that's what we're really all here for in the end. If you're enjoying this content and you'd like even more, head on over to my Architecting YouTube channel. The link is in the show notes, and you can discover more bonus content, including workshops, shorts, and my new Space Doctor series that I'm so excited about. I made this incredible deck of cards based on my research into design for well-being. And every single week I am drawing a card from foundational concepts as well as one of the 5 aspects of salutogenesis, putting them together and using that as a theme for the week, so you can go forward and try to be mindful of those issues in design. So again, if you want to take advantage of that content, just head on over to YouTube and the Architecting channel. Take care, everyone. Love you so much, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening. If you want even more content, head on over to architectingpodcast.com and subscribe to my newsletter and get some great free downloads while you're there. Be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram at Architecting Podcast, Facebook and LinkedIn pages are Architecting, and the YouTube channel Architecting Podcast. Stay inspired.